Two-parter here. It says a sample of chloroform is found to contain 12.0 grams of carbon, 106.4 grams of chlorine, and 1.01 grams of hydrogen. If a second sample of chloroform is found to contain 30 grams of carbon, question 2 asks how many grams of chlorine does it contain, and question 3, how many grams of hydrogen does it contain? Well, this goes back to the law of definite proportions. It doesn't matter what size sample is, the proportion of the elements and therefore the mass proportions is always going to be the same. So as we look at and compare the 30 grams of carbon that is in this second sample to the 12 grams of carbon in the original sample of chloroform, we should recognize that in the second sample, there's about 2.5 times the mass of carbon. Therefore, there must also be 2.5 times the mass of chlorine and 2.5 times the mass of hydrogen in that second sample. So if we're going to determine the grams of chlorine, we're going to take 106 times 2.5. That means in the second sample, we're going to have a mass of 266 grams of chlorine. And when we're looking for grams of hydrogen again, in that second sample, it's going to be 2.5 times the amount we found in the initial sample. And that'll get us to about 2.53 grams of hydrogen in the second sample. Okay, as we look at the next question, it says a sample of metal M is vaporized and injected into a mass spectrometer. The mass spectrum tells us that 60.10% of the metal is present as